to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Tuesday, October 29th, Mike Wright, Jason Moore, Andy Holloway. This is episode 1665 of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Oh, no. For real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 1,665, you say? Well,
yeah.
I'm a little worried about tomorrow's episode.
Oh, man. It could have been Halloween, too.
I know.
We were so close.
I was counting the days. I was like, are we going to hit?
I mean, it's not episode. If you put numbers in front of it, this isn't episode 666.
No, I understand. But
I know you will take any opportunity to bring the beast into this thing.
6 receptions for 66 yards is also not, but it is. There are rules here.
Halloween is 2 days away, so if we want to skip tomorrow's show and line it up.
All right.
Or if you want to skip, Jason.
Yeah, I'm out.
So that way you only have 1666 on Halloween. You can do that. We have a good show for you today. 26-18, that was the score last night. The Steelers, leaders in the division at 6-2 because of course they are.
Yeah, I mean, they look like a good team. Obviously, their defense is good, but I will say that with Russell Wilson there, the way that they're utilizing him on those rollouts, it looks like a competent offense. Certainly not like a top-tier offense where you're excited about them like the Lions or the Bills, but this is a team that can score as well as stop you from scoring. So going forward, I mean, you have to imagine they're going to make some noise and try to make a run in the playoffs.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I mean, Pickens had a monster game. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can we go upstairs to the catch? Can we go upstairs to the catch child?
It's a catch.
Can we get the catch child into the game?
That one was absurd. That was
the double right foot.
I mean, he caught the ball. Everyone watching the game. In fact, I was deep in my kitchen, so I was in the living room where I'm very far from the TV. I'm talking to my wife.
So deep.
How deep is your kitchen?
I'm just saying I was far from my television.
He was 2 stories deep in the kitchen.
I was far from my television, and I'm watching, and I'm talking to my wife. We're like making dinner, and I see the play across the room.
Oh, you
and
knew.
I just scream. I was like, what a catch! I couldn't believe it, so I run over there and I watched just to make sure. And when I watched the replay to make sure, I was like, oh, man, that was a monster catch.
What you meant was what an incomplete catch.
I didn't even see it get overturned at the time. I was like, okay, this is it's like the touchdown's there, there's an extra point, whatever. I've got like a couple-minute break. And I come back and I'm like, wait, how was that not a touchdown?
I would like to see a player catch the ball at about the 20, okay, on the sideline, and then hop on 1 foot up the entire sideline into the end zone, spike the ball, and never put the left foot down. I want to see that happen, and then call it incomplete.
Oh, man.
It's a catch.
Yeah, it's a catch.
It's definitely a catch. And then all the illegal formations or illegal shifts that are – oh, my gosh.
I was playing busy chauffeur dad last night, so I didn't get to see much of the first half. I was thrilled by the fact I didn't have to watch it because I checked in on my phone frequently, and it was 6 consecutive field goals in the first half.
I think,
just like we like it.
Yeah, but there were 3 touchdowns that were called back because, rules are rules.
So that happened last night.
It's both feet. It's not 2 feet. It's both of them.
It's got to be both of them.
Or just like an elbow.
Or
right, one of those.
One elbow is way better
than
shin. Yeah, that's way more
Forearm,
powerful
ankle, wrist,
than double tapping the same foot.
It's not a good night when you kind of agree with Russell Wilson on something, and that's what happened last night when he was talking. He was just like, man, it's a weird rule. He's like, can we, if you touch the same foot twice, can we count that as like?
I think we should.
I believe everyone would watch that and say, oh yeah, we should catch. That should count as a catch. Only because it was a catch. Like, the only reason I think they should count it as a catch is because the human being went up and caught the ball inbounds. That's why. That's why I would call it a catch.
Well, other than our complaining about catching the football, Tyrone Tracy, 20 for 145 and 1 against a formidable defense.
He looked really, really good. I had a trade Sunday morning that the whole league said I stole.
Yeah, these are funny.
It was like I got a pick swap in my favor next year and got David Njoku for Tyrone Tracy. And then as you watch the game, I was like, I think I got the wrong end of that deal.
I mean, it's why we say you never veto a trade.
Yeah,
because the trade came through, and it wasn't veto worthy, but I could see weird leagues maybe pitching a fit.
Oh, for sure. There's leagues out there that would have.
I mean, even you replied to it and was like, I just clicked accept. like the trade's in your favor when that's your defense.
Yeah, I kept reading the trade, assuming that the pick swap should be in the other way. Like Njoku is greater sign,
which I still thought would have been a good deal for
Tyrone Tracy, and instead, I got the pick swap in my favor, but Tyrone Tracy looks legit. The nice thing is, so you had a game with Singletary back, and that was the game where Tyrone Tracy didn't look that great. He was still utilized more, but it was a bad fantasy output. So it looked like Tyrone Tracy was really good without Singletary, but with Singletary, he's not a usable asset. Instead, Singletary gets 2 carries in this game to 20 from Tyrone Tracy. And if you look at the projection for the Giants, it's like, why would they not use Tyrone Tracy and Malik Neighbors and start pushing towards the future?
Well, the biggest problem that exists now is that Singletary would have been a drop candidate, but now probably can't be because Tyrone Tracy exited with a brain injury in the fourth quarter, and Devin Singletary might actually get a spot start now. So when we talk waivers today, that name was going to come up for sure. All right, we'll move on from the game. I will say this, it doesn't seem like Pat Freiermuth is going to be a thing with Russell Wilson through 2 weeks. So at least in that respect, I was a little disappointed. Pickens still had a good night. Slayton got involved again, and Neighbors not efficient on the 13 targets catch percentage-wise, but obviously still a great, pretty good day.
Welcome to Difference Makers, presented by IAMS Pet Food.
Oh, man. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for us to distinguish whether, a jam is fresh and it's good or it's just fresh. Like, I don't know if I sometimes like new drops just because they're new.
Right.
That one's just great.
Well, good. I'm glad people are enjoying it.
And to be fair, you're at about 100% hit rate in 10 years on the drop. So
there's got to be one I didn't like.
So far, so good.
I can't name it, but
I'm sure.
Yeah. Knowing the man.
You mailed one in. You had to mail one in.
Had to.
One? Come on, guys.
This is where he tells us all the drops have been the same drop the whole time. We never noticed.
Working hard or hardly working.
So difference makers, guys. We're looking at staying ahead of the curve, trying to find some players through the remainder of the season, looking at our strength of schedule tool, looking at the Stream Finder tools, looking at the way teams are trending, and trying to be a week or two ahead on difference makers. Last year, I'll bring this up again before I hand the baton off, there were 2 players in the middle of the season that I saw schedule-wise that were like, oh, my gosh. Now, Mike brought one up. Dak Prescott, I went out and got Dak immediately because I bought into everything Mike was selling, and it paid off big time. So Mike found that guy last year. Another one was David Njoku with the tight end schedule over the back half of the year last year. Joe Flacco was quarterback. It worked out well. Who are some players that you guys have identified this week?
Well, I think one name
that isn't Calvin Ridley, obviously.
Obviously.
Right. I mean, one name to bring up, similar to David Njoku, you looked at the rest of season schedule last year for tight ends, and you went, man, there's a schedule here that's really great. Well, this lines up with a player who hasn't played ball yet, but T.J. Hawkinson has the 3rd best remaining schedule for the tight end position. They have taken their time, making sure that he's healthy. He's had a lot of time to recover. Now, this was a serious injury, but the nice thing for T.J. Hawkinson is he was never, he's not out there running, 60 yards down the field, making crazy cuts. This is a player who is playing the smart tight end position, find the soft spot in the zone, play against the defense wisely, and then he's big and strong and can just kind of carry people for a couple extra yards. I think Hawkinson will. You've seen month be involved. I believe that this system will be positive for a tight end. Darnold has looked good enough to get him involved, and Hawkinson, you're gonna. I don't think people are gonna play him this week. He should be active this week. I don't think people are gonna play him, and so you might be able to acquire him if you are a tight end needy team, and he might surprise with how good he is down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it's a risky proposition here. Just take a look at the landscape of your team, or your league. See which good teams are already settled on tight end, and see if you need to compete with them. Again, really bad knee injury. We often see players, it takes some time to come back, but the fact that they've waited this long, plus the schedule, it puts DJ Hawkinson.
What's the test situation? Is he passing tests? Is he failing tests?
I think he's passing them.
Yeah, I think he's passing them. They also
remember he had passed every test except for the one where he could be activated.
Yeah,
apparently.
I think he's going to pass that test this week.
He's going to pass that test, and they really need him. If you look at Jordan Addison and Jalen Naylor, Johnny Munt, they're not getting it done the way that this offense deserves. I think Hawkinson can step up to a large market share.
Yeah, and then we got one player who could cost a bit more, and then one that I think is cheaper, but it's just trying to make a difference for your roster over the next month. Chris Olave, yeah, he's coming off of a good game, 8 for 107. But the thing is, Carolina, Atlanta, Cleveland, these are all plus matchups, and then the bye week for Chris Olave and Derek Carr should be back. So it's just I think the market price of Chris Olave, it's fair. If you need to go get someone who can really help you win over the next couple of weeks, and he's Olave. It's his consistency on our website of scoring more than 10.5 fantasy points. His consistency, he's at an A for our grade. Like that, I don't think people realize how Olave hasn't had these huge spike weeks, but overall he's just been a really, really strong player for your roster. And then Raheem Mostert, technically backup running back of the Miami Dolphins, but the next 4 games are very positive for the Miami Dolphins, and he got the goal line carries. Yes, it's Devon Achane's show, but Raheem Mostert is going to be involved. And trading for Achane right now, would love to do that. That's going to be super duper expensive. But getting Raheem Mostert, I think you could probably get him off of somebody's bench, and he's someone who could slide in as a flex running back type of a situation. Again, Buffalo giving up 3 points more than a player's average. The Rams, it's pretty neutral, but then Vegas, almost 4 points. The Patriots, over 4.5 points above what that position is usually scoring. So it's 4 premium matchups here for a cheaper running back.
I think my favorite of the 3 is Olave. One of the great features of Olave right now and Derek Carr's return is the fact that Rashid Shaheed is not available.
Yeah, sure.
Derek Carr would prefer to throw it to Shaheed, it seems, and he's not there. So Olave is super necessary. The expectation adjustment for Olave is a difficult, emotional one for fantasy players. You now have to accept Olave as the Brian Robinson of the wide receiver position. He's not the Jamar Chase. He's not.
Right.
He's not the Tyreek Hill. He's not even the Drake London or the Garrett Wilson. He's more of a, that consistency grade of 10.5. I bet he's right at 10.5. Most of the time.
Yeah, a lot of times he's in that 10.5 to 12 points. That's where he's living. He doesn't have enough touchdowns, historically to really have those big monster performances. He's never going to be a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson. You hope with his skill set. I think his frame is maybe a little too slight, but you hope the Amon-Ra style of heavy target volume and kind of dependency on him, that's where you want him to kind of elevate towards. But he doesn't go out there and put up duds very often, and that's pretty much true for over 2 years now.
I think the Amon-Ra comp is interesting because if he was in a system like that,
he would dominate.
I was going to say Olave would just do what needs to be done. We've had quite a few wide receivers that have had potential that have not gotten it done for multiple years suddenly break out when the quarterback position is fixed and the system is fixed. You can go to Drake London, you can go to Garrett Wilson, as a couple of examples. But we've seen McLaurin this year.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it just is a quarterback problem. and a system problem. And so, yes, I like the Olave recommendation. I think he's felt so bad. I mean, we've had 2 Rattler weeks, really 2.5. So that's a good pick. All right, that was Difference Makers presented by IAMS Pet Food. When you choose IAMS, you can see a difference in your pet with your own eyes, unless you're a referee. Healthy energy in 5 days, healthy digestion in 10 days, and healthy skin and coat in just 25 days. Feed IAMS and see a visible difference.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
Now, Jay, Andy's allowed to do that joke because he's big ref.
Oh, for sure.
So he can make fun of the refs.
Yeah, I mean,
he's in the
because
frat.
I've got the tattoo.
Yeah,
I've got the brand.
yeah. He's making fun of
self-deprecation is always a fun time.
Yeah.
Me and big reps is not the ribbon of reality I want to go on through the show this year. I was on Team Catch Child last night.
That's good.
Okay,
That's
you
good.
know.
Yeah.
But what did you think about? I'll bet you were like,
The legal formations were nice, though, man.
Yeah, we got him. We got him.
that
I'm
Malik
actually-
Neighbors, that illegal shift by Neighbors. It was like he maybe shifted
Yeah.
wrong.
We
Let's
got
take that
it.
touchdown back.
Big time shift. No, I play in a fantasy league that is all ref positions. So we get points for illegal formations. We get points for
nice.
illegal shit. We get all that stuff.
Yeah.
You must love these prime time
Yeah,
games.
so I'm really into that. All right. Tyrone Tracy, we talked about it. He's in the concussion protocol. Blitzing through the news real quick. Metcalf, optimistic he can return in week 9. That would be very good for Geno Smith. And I saw people bamboozled into Tyler Lockett. And I'm not speaking from a place of superiority. I think we all thought that opportunity
for sure
would be there with Metcalf sitting down.
We were one of them in the Scotty Fish League.
No
we
question.
played Lockett and did not work out well.
No.
What?
I said illegal shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what the tape.
Don't rewind.
That's what the tape
What
is going to
is
say.
happening to me?
Illegal shift.
Look, the F letter in that word is doing really heavy lifting.
I still have a fake tooth.
Yeah, and so that's why.
Great. Now the rest of the show, I'm going to be thinking about the tape.
The YouTube closed captions will tell.
Tell the tale. Great. I look forward to it. Christian McCaffrey, the team plans to open the 21-day window to return.
Just open it.
Well, they don't need to open it because they're going on to bye, so they won't open it yet. They're on the bye week this week. No Niners.
Open the window. Yeah.
The expectation is he is the starting running back against Tampa Bay in Tampa in week 10. So right now, all the Christian McCaffrey managers have to be very excited to get back the #1 player in fantasy over the last decade.
I am so curious about, when you brought up Hawkinson and the return from injury, I can see that being a hugely great move. And like from week 1, instantly that like this is an 8-target guy every week. And I could see it being
it's high risk.
Like
I agree.
Johnny Munt's been performing, the utilization, maybe the snap counts aren't there. They're trying to make sure he's okay. I could see that going either way. With McCaffrey, I'm very curious as well if like I'd put the odds that I'm going to see the same Christian McCaffrey the moment he's back. But then I also just don't know after a bye week. Mason, Garindo played well. Like I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The difference is you can wait a week on Hawkinson. If McCaffrey's active, everyone's going to have him in the line. And the truth is, I really do think he's going to be like 85, 90+% of snaps and just be the guy.
I just hope he doesn't re-injure himself.
Oh, the Niners hope that too.
T. Higgins. Did you say he's good, man? Is that because you
good.
got him in 2 leagues?
Don't worry about it.
So good.
Don't worry about it.
Did you get to react to T. Higgins on Sunday Live? Because we obviously didn't get to react on the show. You and I had him in our DraftKings lineup. We had to make a pivot that afternoon after, the moment of random quad injury.
I talked about that no one in the world practices harder than T. Higgins, clearly.
I swear, I told Jason, I was like, Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins They hang out under the bleachers, man. They sprain each other's ankles.
This is still – I am proud of T because in years past, he liked to do this early in games, and you'd start him.
Oh, you think he's
and now it's
getting
like
the hang of it?
He's getting the hang of it. He's like, you know what, guys? I am injured. I'm not going to play in this game. That's great news because we can pivot. We can choose someone else.
Had he started, there is a 98 to 100% chance he goes out in 3 snaps.
Yeah.
98 to 100. This year it's weird with T and the injuries because you also, if you're T. Higgins, why are you playing hurt?
Oh yeah, you're on. Is it a franchise tag or did they
he's
do
franchise.
Okay,
he's franchise, and they, the rumors are flowing out because we're at the point where teams got to start making trades. Like teams are calling about T. Higgins, and the Bengals are saying no, and it's okay.
Asked if Anthony,
are they that team in everyone's league that's like, dude, you're not winning the championship. You need to sell for next year. It's like, no, I'm still gonna make it. It's like, no, you're not.
They're
3-5. Right.
I guess.
No, did you see Joe Burrow's comments? He said their goal is 10 wins.
Okay.
So at that point,
they can get there.
You got to go 7-2 the rest of the way.
Also, the AFC East. Did you guys? The Bills. I didn't. It's fun to check in on the standings every once in a while.
I know the entire division.
Because we're fantasy, right? Like I know teams are good or if they're bad, but the records of the AFC East, the Bills are at top at 6-2. Then the Dolphins are 2-5. The Pats are 2-6, and the Jets are 2-6.
2 wins is in second place.
What is this?
Yeah.
That's what has the Dolphins fans all like ready to go. By the way, asked if Anthony Richardson would start in Week 9. Richardson said, "I'm a little tired from last week. We'll see."
Oh no,
that's not a quote. The actual quote was from Shane Steichen and said, "We're evaluating everything." The Anthony Richardson controversy right now in Indianapolis is one of the major storylines of the week. 44% completion percentage on the year, which far surpasses the 33% or whatever from last week. He has been by far the worst quarterback throwing the football in the league, getting consistent playing time when you have a tremendous passer who for the last calendar year has consistently thrown for 300 and 2 or 3 touchdowns in Joe Flacco. This is a good enough football team to compete for this division, and the team is really like everybody's come out from the offensive coordinator to the center to Pat McAfee. I mean,
Ryan.
They've never seen this in their life, a player coming off the field due to being tired. And Mike, I don't know if you were aware of this when we watched all the games. This was 3rd and goal in the red zone.
That part I did not remember.
Sorry, it was 3rd down in the red zone when he came off the field.
Maybe he just wanted his team to be able to pass the ball. It's like, this is an important play. Take me out.
It's just never seen it. I mean, Luke Kuechly yesterday talked about it.
Ryan Kelly, their longtime center, this was his quote about him calling himself out. He said, quote, "I think he knows it's not the standard he needs to play up to and the rest of the team holds him to, and I'll kind of leave the conversation that we've had at that. I'm sure he's going to take criticism for that, rightfully so. I mean, it's a tough look, but he's out there giving it his all for the team."
No, that's a throwaway line. He's not out there giving it all for his team. Because he wasn't for that next play.
Yeah, but he wasn't out there on that play. He gave his all on the play before, and then he needed.
I guess if you give everything,
if you're not on the field, you can't give your all.
Is that the quote? Is like he's out there every other play giving his all.
Yeah.
Look, you play quarterback in the NFL. You're drafted where you're drafted. You deserve criticism when you make mistakes, and you deserve praise when you play well. So that's the way I view it with Richardson.
The Colts are in a really tough position right now.
You know, it's not the Joe Flacco. We joked about this, right? Like Flacco not being re-signed by the Browns, we said might be in part to the controversy he would provide for Watson before he got hurt. Because
it is not a might. It is a 100%. And then the game that Watson got knocked out for the season and Dorian Thompson-Robinson was the backup, it's part of the game plan. Bull crap. Bull crap. That was, we can't have Winston as the backup because we can't have the crowd. We can't have the mob turn. And they just and then the Watson injury was like, oh, yeah, no, of course Jameis is our backup starting quarterback.
Well, let's put it this way. Joe Flacco's on our waiver list. Joe Flacco's somebody you should monitor. If he was dropped in 2 quarterback leagues, please pick him up. This is something that's not going away. And look, let's say Anthony Richardson starts this week. That's the decision they made.
I believe that will be the decision, but
yeah. What happens next week?
Exactly.
What happens the week after?
Are we
going from 33% to 60% completion percentage in a week?
It's going to be a weekly conversation based upon play. And right now you would assume that the play is not going to immediately turn itself around. We saw really like 2 games last season as a rookie, and he showed flashes of greatness and some problems. This is such a young player that has never really put any kind of consistency together. It's difficult to imagine he's going to just magic consistency. The next 2 matchups on the road against Minnesota's passing defense, and that's not a great environment. And then the Buffalo Bills, you can run on them, but you can't pass on them very easily. So
it's okay. The next week is the Jets on the road.
That's fair.
Jordan Love's MRI revealed a groin strain. The injury is not expected to be a long-term issue. Groinindex.com providing all of the sound effects for this show. Derek Carr will practice, optimistic to play. Dave Canales said the team will look at all the information before deciding which mistake to make at quarterback this week against the Saints.
Yeah, they're going to look. It's funny because it's basically they're going to look at Andy's health over the next couple days. Basically, if Andy Dalton, their starter, is healthy, he will play. But the thumb is an issue right now.
And that, to me, if it's Bryce Young, I want to play the Saints defense, and if it's Dalton, I might want to find somebody else. Jameis Winston's the starter going forward for the Browns. He looked like what I'm going to go ahead and call a professional NFL quarterback during their upset win over the Ravens.
In preparation for today's waiver episode, I went back and watched every Cedric Tillman snap, every Elijah Moore snap, and Jameis Winston.
Did you skip the Judy snaps?
No, in the Judy snaps.
Oh, okay.
Jameis Winston, yeah, he looked very good. I mean, he had his classic Jameis Winston moment or two, like, for instance, when he ended the game by throwing the ball to Kyle Hamilton. Directly, except Kyle Hamilton decided to try to catch it 20 times and fail, and then it went down and won.
Because as a defender, it's got to be disorienting when the ball comes directly right to you. Your job as a DB.
It's like missing the layup, man. It's too easy.
Well, your job as a DB is I'm stealing this away. It's never thrown to me, so when you're like,
we had a report yesterday that Brian Thomas would miss 2 to 4 weeks or was in danger of it. The MRI was more positive. He's considered day-to-day. It's a contusion. He could play this week. He could miss a week. Gabe Davis.
He could play. He could miss 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Who knows?
well, it depends how minor it is, Mike. Gabe Davis should be fine for Sunday's game with the shoulder injury. Doesn't mean he won't leave it early. And we have 1 week until the day we're all looking forward to. Next Tuesday,
November 5th.
The trade deadline.
The NFL trade deadline. Yeah, baby.
Yep. A lot of big stuff happening next Tuesday in the National Football League. And Deontay Johnson could find a new home. In fact, some of the teams rumored for Deontay Johnson that all makes sense. The Chargers is a pretty good football team that need a wide receiver. Tampa Bay's been mentioned. They've lost Evans, at least until after the bye, and they've lost
Godwin,
who did say he might be able to make it back for the playoffs. So that there's a handful of other teams that are in the mix as well, but we'll see. He's probably leaving the Carolina Panthers. All right, that was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance. We'll take a break. We'll hit the waiver wire. Illegal shift.
Yeah, no, that's what
I said.
We all heard it.
Yep.
We all heard it.
I wondered why the whole room reacted to me just, hosting the show.
No reason.
Like a professional.
No reason at all.
You know what? I'm going to take this play off.
Yeah, you must be tired.
All right.
It's an important part of the show. You gotta let the main guys handle it.
We're in the main segment. Week 9, 49ers Steelers, they're on bye. And we're getting into the waiver wire. Jason, you tweeted yesterday for the running back position, and I was with you on this. This was there's not a lot of good options out there, at least majority.
For running backs.
Yeah, majority available because, the one name that's kind of under 50%, barely, that, you'd say go and pick up would maybe be Jaylen Warren, but he's going into a bye week.
Pick up what? I don't understand.
Yeah, what are we doing? What is this part of the
Welcome to the Waiver Wire.
You really did.
He really did say
took it off.
He took the play off. Now we can talk waivers. Unfortunately, we are going to start at the running back position. And I say unfortunately because there are no good waiver wire pickups. There are still
one.
There's one?
Jaylen Warren is a good waiver pickup.
No, he isn't. He's
Yes,
going
he
on
is.
bye.
I don't care about the bye week. I care about the rest of the season. He's a good pickup. He's not a good spot start this week because he's not playing.
You guys were debating this yesterday.
Okay.
No, Jaylen Warren is a very good waiver pickup.
This is a player who scored a very not nice 6.9 fantasy points in his first game with Russell Wilson, followed that up with 6.9 fantasy points with his second game with Russell Wilson, and now goes on bye. I'm not excited to get a player who hasn't hit 10 fantasy points on the whole season that I have to wait a week on. He's not a very good pickup.
I disagree.
Well, then we're in fisticuffs because you're wrong. I think he's fine, but Najee's looked great, man.
Yes.
Najee's not going away. This is a backup running back.
Najee looked great last night.
I agree that Najee has looked quite good, but I'm just saying that I am concerned over their second half schedule that Najee will not look so good.
Which is why you're going to fight each other right now.
Yes. Obviously, you're not going to pick him up to play him this week. I believe that the best pickups this week are the insurance running backs, the guys that are available on a lot of waiver wires, the Blake Corums, the even Isaac Garindo. You've got a deep Braylon Allen. Those guys at least represent a path towards a future with an injury ahead of them.
To me, it'd be looking more short term. I know 10 carries is coming Algiers' way, and I know 10 are coming Zeke's way. So if I had to throw somebody in my lineup, I think those are the two players that I'd go that direction.
Yeah, Tyler Algier would be the spot start. They've got Dallas this week. Dallas's defensive line they're all in the hospital. So Tyler Algier's been getting enough work to be a spot start. He's rostered in about half the leagues. Same with Zach Charbonnet, rostered in about half the leagues, gets enough work. And at least with Charbonnet, he gets some targets.
No,
they all stink.
I think we're all a little dissatisfied with the options. I would probably protest Garindo versus Warren because both going into the bye week.
Sure.
Warren is one injury away. Garindo is 2 at this point. But, Ty Chandler's been not utilized whatsoever.
No.
Ray Davis, he's the injury away type of player. Dalvin Cook is cooked.
Yeah.
And
Dearness Johnson is worse because you should now have take Bigsby as ahead of him, and you expect Travis Etienne to be back. I will throw Keaton Mitchell's name out there as a player to pay attention to. He's been on IR.
I'll just Matumbo it right back to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just Matumboing it right back.
In most weeks I wouldn't, but Keaton Mitchell was a really explosive rookie last year who, for the Baltimore Ravens, got injured and left. We have seen Justice Hill be pretty relevant. And so
I like Justice Hill.
I expect when Keaton Mitchell comes back, it's still Justice Hill and Derrick Henry.
I think
this is why you don't drop Devin Singletary or Jordan Mason, is because you don't need to be making some weeks, and I was talking to Al Borland about this last week, some weeks you do, and I just want to say this, sometimes you need to sit it out. Like you don't have to go spin fab is my point. You could put in some zero bids if you want in insurance back to throw at the bottom of your bench, but sometimes you just sit it out and let other people bleed a little bit of fab, and you just move on to the next week and spend it then.
If I have a spot of the insurance running backs, like Blake Corum would be at the top of – look, we know that Kyron has gotten hurt in the past.
A lot of work.
And he's out there so much. So it's just playing the odds of who's most likely to get hurt. Like the guy who's taking almost every single running back attempt.
Oh, my gosh. Is that why Richardson sat it out?
Yeah, he did. Can't get hurt when you're on the side.
Oh, okay.
So Blake is at the top for me. Ray Davis and Kamani Vidal-Sassoon are probably 2 and 3. It's like just looking at J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, Keaton Paul Mitchell. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. We got Keaton Paul Mitchell in
we
there
do.
now?
Yeah, we do.
Fantastic.
I will say this, like all of our waiver wire rankings are on the site, and if you want them customized to your league with who's actually available, and you want to see that order that we have based on your scoring settings and everything, you can go to jointhefoot.com, become a supporter of the show, get access to the ultimate dashboard, which is coming to mobile very soon, potentially this week as well, and learn more about that at jointhefoot.com for those. That's where, the strength of schedule tool, the consistency charts,
the stream finder,
the resources that we utilize on the show, but also in our leagues, all available there for supporters at jointhefoot.com.
One last name I could throw out at running back just to grab and stash would be Marshawn Lloyd. He is eligible to come back this week. I haven't heard that he is, but he is eligible to come back.
Sure, that's a good one.
And he was, an exciting, highly drafted rookie running back for the Packers.
I would be so excited for Lloyd returning to a bad team. That's how I feel right now, because I feel like the Packers are very on their way.
Who is the running back that is getting work there that is just the worst and shouldn't be playing? Thank you. It's Brooks. That guy, every time he's on the field, I'm like, why is he playing football in the NFL?
It's Chris Brooks.
Yeah. So that's why I like Marshawn Lloyd, because Chris Brooks has been on the field.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jacobs, it happened again because Jordan Love went out of the game, but he's been like there's opportunities in there for another running back.
Looking to the wide receiver position, I want to mention 5 names that are 60 to 70% rostered. So they're probably rostered in your league, but I'm going to mention these 5, and just tell me who you like the most of this group if they were out there. Ridley, Keon Coleman, who has quietly put up 3 out of 4 double-digit weeks. Josh Downs, who in spite of Richardson, 9 targets, 4 for 109 and a touchdown. Juwan Jennings, who we confirmed is coming back from the bye. No Brandon Ayuk rest of the season. We saw what Jennings did without him. And then Jalen McMillan, who missed some big plays, might have caused people to doubt the spin of Fab. And did I say Ridley?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so those 5 names, all of them are 60 to 70% rostered, so they could be out there. Who's your favorite?
My favorite would be Calvin Ridley. With Hopkins gone, I think he's got an opportunity, and the strength of schedule rest of the way is absurd for him.
Of those guys, if I need a play this week, it's Keon Coleman. I think long-term, my favorite of that group is probably Juwan.
Okay. Yeah.
But obviously he's on bye this
week. And if Flacco gets named starter, we're all Josh Downs is number 1.
Okay, so that's a question I was going to ask. We're talking about, hey, maybe keep an eye on Joe Flacco, because if they're going to make a change, I lean that they don't make a change to Anthony Richardson, but it's just, okay, let's prepare in the event that it does happen. What kind of action are you or preemptive strikes are you doing with the Colts wide receivers? Because if they move to Joe Flacco, Josh Downs, great play. Michael Pittman, very relevant. Like, he goes back to being a high-end wide receiver, low-end wide receiver too.
I think Downs is the only preemptive strike since we have production with Richardson.
Okay.
So you kind of mitigate, like the Fab is worth it potentially no matter what. These guys are probably not available. I like the Juwan Jennings mention because he could become more available this week. He could hit waiver wires because people need somebody to play. So you should pick him up, drop it like it's hot. Looking below that percentage of roster ownership, Cedric Tillman's going to lead the way this week.
You just got to look at the Browns wide receivers.
All of them, Jason, you said you watched the film.
Yeah.
But Elijah Moore had 12 targets, 8 for 85. Jerry Jeudy, 5 for 79. Cedric Tillman led the way in part because of 2 touchdowns, 7 for 99. When you looked at all 3 of those guys on film, was Cedric Tillman far and away the best target?
Yeah, Cedric Tillman was far and away the best target. I did not watch his film and get wowed. I wasn't like, what an incredible player.
Wow.
There were some opportunities for him to break some tackles that he failed on. It was very similar to when I watched Javonte a couple weeks ago. He had a great game, and I was like, he gets what's given to him, but he's not doing anything super special on his own. That being said, the utilization and what is given to him is why I really like Cedric Tillman. I would put Cedric Tillman in the category with all those guys that you said they're heavily rostered, they're probably not available in your league. To me, Cedric Tillman is a must-grab target. They are using him. They had a couple screens, but they used him down the field. They used him on some crossing routes. He's a big-bodied player. He's got a very wide target radius. And if you compare him to Elijah Moore, he's just got more ways he can do important things for fantasy. They use him further down the field than they did Elijah Moore on a consistent route running basis. And he can box someone out, body them. I think he's got to be 6'2", 215, something like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But just watching him on film, he seems like a big target for Jameis Winston down the field. I love that. 9 targets is great. 26% target per route run over the last 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks are important because those are the 2 weeks where Amari Cooper wasn't there. It's even more important now without Deshaun Watson. But it's important to remember, Cedric Tillman was a rookie last year. This isn't, Elijah Moore I have a real struggle with because even though the targets were there and he looked
he's not
fine,
good at football.
We've had years and years of him not being.
I don't know.
Sure, we don't know.
I know.
But there are years of him not getting it done.
His mom knows.
But the years of him, so Elijah Moore
21, 22, 23, 24.
Elijah Moore is in year 4 of his career. As a rookie with the Jets, he had this stretch where it looked like Elijah Moore is going to be a thing. That's why we are even here having this discussion. Then he was still with the Jets. Like he was still with where even Garrett Wilson is getting a bajillion targets but doing absolutely nothing because the quarterback play is so bad. He goes to the Cleveland Browns, whose quarterback play is like no one is doing anything. I mean, Amari Cooper here and there, but then mostly when Joe Flacco took over, that's when things happen. So I don't know. I don't know if Elijah Moore is bad or good.
He can get 12 targets and be outside the top 24. That's
100%.
That's what he does. I mean, he's 7 a catch this year. Like we don't need to talk about
this. Last week there were
he was 10 a catch in the game with Jameis.
Yes, this last week there were 2 plays down the field, but the majority of his routes are worthless fantasy routes. There were probably 4 or 5 plays where his route wasn't even a route. It was like, just go stand over by the sideline. Literally just stand there.
Just answer this question. When you start Tillman or would you start Moore?
Oh, Tillman.
Would you start Judy or Moore?
Judy.
Would you start Njoku or Moore?
Njoku.
Would you flex Chubb or Moore?
Chubb.
Okay.
Touchdown opportunity.
So
yeah,
fifth
I
best
think Elijah Moore is a fine waiver pickup for people in need in a full PPR that might, he could end up with 6, 7, 8 receptions and have a fantasy floor. But yes, Cedric Tillman looked good enough to be my main waiver pickup this week.
I had such a disaster in our league of record losing Tillman. Like I had him before the week in anticipation of this and just
drop some fab on him.
Just made him. I don't have any fab.
I know.
Parker Washington, Gabe Davis. Who are you interested in Jacksonville to take up the disgusting mantle against a tough Philly defense this week?
I think I'm going Parker. We had a little bit of excitement for Parker Washington last year when he as a rookie. It didn't last very long, but it was at least a little bit there. It's just who's going to play where. Like, if Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas are back, is Parker Washington now the slot wide receiver? Like, does he replace Christian Kirk? Does he go to the outside if one of these other guys are out? There's a lot of huge questions here where he's not. In a normal 12 team, I want to add him, but I don't want to play him yet. But I think that he's a good speculation add for that you can get cheaper. Like Tillman's going to be expensive, very, very expensive this week. If you can't get him on your roster, you got to find other cheap options.
Okay.
If I had to pick between Parker Washington and Gabe Davis, if I knew Gabe Davis was healthy, I would obviously go Gabe. He is. He's a veteran player who's had big games in the past. He's even had big games already for Jacksonville this season. Big game for Jacksonville this season.
Singular.
On the road in London, had the 2-touchdown game. But the opportunity there with potentially without having Brian Thomas Jr. as well as no Christian Kirk, it just says we've seen him have a big game here, but big games in the past. He wasn't very necessary to this offense. He might become necessary. The truth is it's going to be Evan Ingram.
Yes, it will
7 billion targets this week.
Maybe some running back involvement from Travis Etienne when he returns. Other names that you want to bring up on today's show, again, you can see the full wide receiver rankings list, but Any names that you think people are going to forget about, like Xavier Legette?
That was the name I was going to bring up. Xavier Legette is, he's had flashes of brilliance, a few great catches, had a touchdown this last week, and the rumors about Deontay Johnson being traded, if Andy Dalton comes back and Deontay Johnson's not part of this team, you have a first-round rookie wide receiver who is going to be force-fed the ball and see what his athleticism can do. Second half of the year, that would be my next favorite pickup.
Mike, do you have some other names?
I mean, I would just – with Legette, I'm at least going to throw out the name Jalen Coker. He's another rookie wide receiver for the Panthers who went 4 for 78 with a score. So I need to dive into his film and just to see if anything is a mirage or not. But
he was in the
but opportunity for him will be there. The rumors about Deontay feel like they're like Deontay's being traded. That's how it's being reported right now.
Well, put it this way. Last week when Deontay Johnson didn't play due to injury, the questions in the locker room to the head coach or not in the locker room, at the press conference, were, did Deontay Johnson not play because of being traded? Like that was it was already thought like, oh, he's not playing because they don't want to get him injured because they're going to trade him.
Fair enough. And Coker ended up in a DraftKings lineup for me a couple weeks ago because his snap counts have been going up at that point already. With Deontay Johnson involved.
It's a good name to bring up.
We didn't see much from Demario Douglas. Drake May got hurt.
I want to throw one name out there, almost certainly rostered. He's like 70% rostered, but since we threw some of those names out there, Jacoby Myers is going to be a really good fantasy asset rest of season. So maybe this isn't a waiver. Maybe this is a little trade for target on the cheap. I don't think anyone's excited about Jacoby Myers. But with Devontae Adams being gone, Jacoby Myers being back, I believe that he'll have a lot of work rest of season.
It does seem like he will be the most consistent, whereas like DJ Turner and Trey Tucker are not getting the level of involvement in the offense to be viable. And I would be willing to drop them. I'd drop Christian Watson. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's a drop candidate someone brought up. DJ Moore. No, I'm not doing that.
No.
Michael Pittman. I
would not drop him right now. Pittman
I'd drop him for Tillman, but
I would rather have Tillman than Pittman, but to Mike's point, if they make the change to Flacco, Pittman becomes I believe, a really valuable fantasy asset. So I'm going to hold him for now.
And just keep your eye on Houston, on the Texans. We did not get an update yet on Stephon Diggs and the knee,
weird.
Which is, if it feels like the Rashee Rice situation all over again, where we know that he's hurt, we know it's probably bad, but no one is giving us information about
it. We're 2 days away from the injury at this point and still under wraps. All right, before we jump into tight ends, we'll take a break. I'll make sure that I've hit all the appropriate drops, and then we'll continue with tight end, defense, and quarterback. All right, gentlemen, tight end pickups. We had the big week from the tight end position. Lots of touchdowns. Cade Otton was one of the stars of the week. 9 for 81, 2 touchdowns, 93% of snaps. That is the most offensive snaps of any offensive skill position player since the beginning of 2023. Is that a lie?
No, it's not this week. That I believe like he has the most. So Cade Otton has been.
Oh, you're saying on the totality of the year. That makes more sense.
Cade Otton is a snap warrior. Like he's always been on the field. He just had never gotten targets. And like Cade Otton
is the tight end 6 right now.
He is highly rostered, but Cade Otton really is like it's Cedric Tillman. The priority ads for me this week are Warren, Tillman, and Cade Otton. Should Cade Otton be out there? He gets to play the Chiefs this week. You think it's not great, but tight ends could do okay. And it's just he's always out there, and now they need him. And he's, over the last month has really been showing out as this is a player who can contribute to the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Well, and with Baker throwing so many touchdowns on a weekly basis, that is definitely a player to pay attention to. With no Godwin, no Evans, 2 weeks till the bye, heavily rostered. Zach Ertz continues to get it done in this offense. He is the kind of next best target behind Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. He had a slot machine this last week. He was 7 for 77. I mean, he's been very, very involved.
See, I thought you meant he played in the slot, but you were saying,
I did too.
You were going 7. You like it when 3 numbers line up.
I'd call that more of a jackpot.
Jackpot?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. He had a jackpot this week.
Okay.
I like that. That is better. That's an upgrade. Thank you, Mike.
He's on pace for 96 targets this year.
So gross.
It's not gross. He's a good player. He's a good football player. We've spent 5 years trying to retire him. He's not retired.
He is he will get what's there.
He will smash Adam Troutman on a weekly basis. I'm
yes,
just going to put that out there.
If that's the barometer.
Well,
I'm just
you're
saying,
darn right it is.
If you're giving this guy 100 targets, he's on pace for 770 yards. I would hope for more.
Not 777?
Well, you know what? I submit week 8 of the 2024 season for your evaluation.
Okay, first of all, you had to type over there, which meant you were not sure about that. I saw you typing.
I knew. Because he got a touchdown.
Yeah, submit 1 week.
Just say, hey.
Per 4 years.
Mike Gesicki is a name we have to bring up. He got completely overshadowed on National Tight End Week because he didn't get a touchdown, and there were 17 of them. But I actually believe Mike Gesicki might have been the best tight end this last week. He had 8 targets, 8 important targets. He was 7 for 73. Had incredible catches.
One of the better catches of the year, yeah.
Oh, it was the outreaching arm was brilliant. They also had a 3rd and long where he Houdini'd behind the defense and was just a really smart play. He's involved in this offense while T. Higgins is out.
That's the headline.
Yes.
I would never play him with T. Higgins.
100% true. This is a weekly play against the Raiders. If T. Higgins doesn't play, I would be fine to throw Gesicki in there.
And the latest report on Higgins is what, day-to-day?
He's day-to-day.
Yeah,
wait
specificity.
Wait till he practices again.
Yeah, so the thing about T is he is always day-to-day.
Other players to pay attention to. We did get a little bit of Taysom Hill back on the field. So, they're not going to have Shaheed. He could be involved.
And Kendre Miller got hurt.
He's just such a scary start anytime you give him a chance.
And if Quentin Johnston, who didn't really practice this last week, if he's out again.
Spot start Disley?
Spot start to Big Montana, baby. Will Disley. Woo! You talk about 19 targets over 2 weeks, Dad Will Disley? You talk about 13 receptions over 2 weeks, Dad Will Disley? You talking about a bunch of yards over 120 yards at tight end? Will Disley!
Thank you, Will. Thank you for what you've provided.
Big Montana. But yeah,
to this show.
I hope someday we meet Will Disley.
Oh, man.
And he just has the thickest New York accent.
He's like, no, you're Big Montana.
No, we did it. We did the research and development department.
Yes, he is from Montana. That is where it comes from. He is also enormous. So the big part of Big Montana is his size.
A lot of times, I will admit, the nicknames on this show are not of the highest caliber. They may not even be considered good. But Big Montana.
Oh, it's good.
How is that not nationally? Someone has to have picked up on this.
Listen, his nickname on Pro Football Reference, do you know what it is?
Oh, it's not good.
Please tell me
it's Uncle Will, man.
Oh,
that's
Uncle
so
Will.
Bad. Who wants Uncle Will? Uncle Will is who you hide from.
Boston.
Yeah.
There was a time you weren't in. You were not in, Mike.
I've always been in on the name Big Montana.
No, the song.
It's the music.
But you're here now, right?
Look, sometimes you got to lean in.
Yeah, it's too fun.
Just enjoy it.
Dragged into the
but he is an
Montana prairie.
He is an okay spot start if Quentin Johnston is out.
There are a number of defensive options this week, I think, for managers to look at. The Saints against Carolina and maybe Bryce Young. The Commanders, who've been playing great against a sack-prone Daniel Jones in New York.
That's the one.
Love that.
That's the defense that I would want.
Is that
more.
your favorite?
That is my favorite of the ones that are widely available.
I mean, I love the Bengals against Las Vegas because the Bengals are at home this week. I like Minnesota against maybe Anthony Richardson, something to monitor there.
I would throw the Giants out there as a pickup, not for this week against the Washington Commanders, but sometimes with defenses you want to look 2 weeks out.
Yeah, be a week ahead.
And so the Giants defense has been awesome, despite the fact that the Steelers put up points by the end. They get after it. I mean, they're number 1 in sack rate in the NFL, and they play the Carolina Panthers the following week.
Any interest in Arizona at home against what we solve from Chicago's offense last week, or are you not messing around?
I think it's dicey.
I would say that's a possible DFS play because they're probably super cheap, but you probably don't need to do that in your redraft leagues.
Okay. By the way, Mike, Jason's going to be out on Friday. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah,
I did
He's
not.
not going to be here. I don't know if it's one of these.
I was.
I don't know
I'm
if it's
tired
one of the.
for the.
Oh
Shame.
wait.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it up because
Wait.
I'll pay it out next Friday.
I'm thinking Thursday shame, Mike. I don't see why Thursday can't be the shame.
Because you got to have it on for the whole segment.
We'll do the segment. What if we did the segment on Thursday?
Gonna move this segment up?
No.
We've done this before.
No, I'm not. No.
So what's the story? What
I don't know.
happens if
We'll
you
figure it out.
Okay.
I am in control of it. I'll tell you what. It was lighter.
Oh, now it's not.
Punishment will be not light anymore.
Okay.
I was taking it easy on you.
Oh no.
Yeah, now you're skipping out. You're A-rich in this thing.
Oh no. All right.
What would Ryan Kelly say?
He'd say it's not the expectation that we have set for this high of a standard of a podcast.
That's right.
But I'm giving it my all when I'm here.
I love it.
Full stream ahead.
All right. Streaming quarterback options. I'm going with the maybe antithetical on the surface, but really not in reality. Bo Nix.
I tried to put him in there. And
Did
then,
you?
And then Brooks is like, you got to change your stream. I'm like, why? He's like, because Andy already had him in there. And I was
buddy.
like, oh, are you sure? Did he beat me?
It's Baltimore in Baltimore. Bo Nix is the quarterback 10. He's had 3 or 4 weeks with multi-touchdowns, and the Baltimore Ravens, you can throw the football against the Baltimore Ravens, and you can do it if you're Jameis Winston or Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow and Dak and even Minshew. Like, they're giving up more points against expectation over the last 8 weeks than a lot of other teams. In fact, they're the second worst against quarterback. Bo Nix is a great streaming option.
I am in agreement. I will throw out Matty Stafford, who has his boys back.
Woo!
Puka's back. Cooper Kupp is back. And wouldn't you know it, 4 passing touchdowns here for Matt Stafford. And he gets to play the Seattle Seahawks, which this is since week 4, Seattle's defensive rank 30th in points per game allowed and 25th against quarterbacks. This is a prime situation for Matt Stafford.
And I'm going to go with a guy.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes.
Holy crap.
Sometimes it's in the shop, and you get.
Send in the car. Send in the car.
You get the car out of the shop, and you're ready to take it for a
Look at
spin.
Me. Look at me.
You don't have.
I don't want you to hear. What do you say? Don't hear what I'm not saying. You're a lunatic.
You don't have to do this, man.
You don't, have to do this.
So here's
you
the
did
thing.
this once before. How did that go?
It went poorly.
Okay.
However, they weren't playing Carolina. This is a Saints team that has a 25-point implied team total on the road. That says two things. That says that the Panthers are terrible. We saw Derek Carr carve them up earlier this season. And then it also says that Derek Carr's expectation is to be back because you wouldn't have 25
It'd be
point
a bad stream if he wasn't.
Implied point total for Spencer Rattale or whoever the third-string quarterback went in. So Derek Carr, assuming he is active, I think you can stream him this week. Or if you're in a 2 QB league, I have him in one. I'm going to be starting him this week.
Could have gone like Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert's coming off a great game, but he has not done a lot.
Yeah, but the Derek Carr victory lap, Mike, that's the sweetest.
Yeah.
That's the sweetest of all laps.
It's not only is it the sweetest of all laps, when it inevitably does not work, you're like, it was Derek Carr.
That's your fault.
What do you want from me?
No, I'm gonna be drifting, man. I'm gonna be taking this car. My back.
Have you ever thought
tire's
about making him the like if he has to dress up sometime, like do the raccoon eyes for Carr? Like make you could dress up as Carr.
I expect after this week to put one of these W's on
for the first time.
For the first time since week 2, I think I'm going to put one of these W's on the shave head meter.
You sure?
And then I think I will put one more on by the end of the season. That's my
4 wins.
That's my guess.
Would you drop the 3 candidates that we have here? Anthony Richardson, would you drop that landmine onto the waiver wire?
I 100% would. If you have Fab trading open, I was able to trade him for $2 Fab. Best investment I've made in a while.
How'd that investment go over there?
We didn't play him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was wise. You didn't have the sunken cost fallacy. You just got out.
Caleb Williams, after 2 great weeks, fell on his face. And are you letting go of Caleb, or do you view him as a keeper still?
Caleb Williams is a streaming option, so I'm fine letting him go.
I
However,
agree.
he's on the road in Arizona this week. Seems like a pretty good matchup. So this would be a streaming candidate. I would be fine starting him this week.
And it's in here, Jay, so I'm going to read it. Dak Poopscott.
No.
What?
No.
No, you're not dropping Dak Prescott.
Quarterback
No.
18 on the season.
If you drop it like it's hot. See if people drop Dak.
I brought it
and
up.
Go pick him up.
I brought it up that from after the bye, he had the one of the best schedules for quarterbacks rest of the season. The biggest hardship was this past week against the San Francisco 49ers. I knew coming out of the bye that was a tough matchup. After that, it's pretty nice sledding.
Well, now week 12 on the road against Washington.
I mean, maybe Washington is great. Who knows?
All right, that is it for today's episode. Hungry for more TNF preview and a mid-season review on tomorrow's show. And then Thursday, Friday, we'll jump right back into the matchup starts of the week. And I was going to say Wheel of Shame, but, you know, we're just going to tap. We're going to tap out.
I'm
It's
tired.
Tap out on
unbelievable.
Friday. And what, you're doing something with your son, huh?
Yeah, it's a father-son school day.
They do the whole day. It used to be
What,
donut.
bring your dad to school day?
It used to be
Basically.
donuts with dad. Like you'd go for the morning, have a donut, and leave. Now it's the whole day.
It's the entire day. Apparently, the school sanctioned paintball.
The school-
What?
You got school paintball?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty good excuse.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Wait,
I got to blast them. You know
hold
what
on.
I mean?
So is this like your father and son? Are you duo or are you teams?
I have no idea yet, but it would.
But either
It's 1v1 for all the dads.
if it was dads against sons, I have no idea who would win that. I mean,
mobility,
Mobility
and look, target.
versus video
You're a bigger
games.
target than he is.
huh? Yes, that's true.
What if he stays in the like post paintball paint for the weekend, Mike? Does that count as a shame?
No.
Okay.
I'm not getting hit.
All right, that'll do it for today's show. Shout out to the Deucers over there, Alborn and Company. Thank you, guys. We'll be back tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.